Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, December 4th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, we are looking at IRBT. Very nice mover today, and now we're looking at a good quality pattern here. So let's get this pattern drawn into play here. So we have the upper part of it. Let's change this. There we go to the resistance. And then we have the lower part of the pattern down here as support. So let me change that. Green for support. And then just to make the pattern easier to see, let's keep it all one color. Hopefully make it easier to see. So we have our area of resistance right here. We have our area of support right there. We have the big explosive move right there. And then for you golfers, try to make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, let me be very clear. Just because something's a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed if it consolidates out and breaks up that it's going to make that sort of move. My point here is that at least a valid question to throw out there that the price or the break of that level could create upside buying pressure. And that is a valid scenario. Not guaranteed, but a plausible thing that could indeed happen. So if you like bull pennant patterns, if you like this price range, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, KITT, and crazy movement here really all day, but even right now as I speak, look at this thing moving all around. So got to think that a lot of people will be watching it here headed in to Thursday. So let's first talk about the ideal level of support. And if you say, hey Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? And that would be if the price could stay up here above $1.30. Now, don't get me wrong. If the price falls below $1.30, that doesn't mean the entire chart's destroyed or ruined or anything like that. But that would certainly make the chart look the strongest from an overarching, standpoint. Now, taking a step back and looking at it all from just the big picture, that's where the purple line comes into play. 50-period, simple moving average. Keyword definitely being moving. I get it. This purple line is way down here. The price is way up there. But as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher and get more and more relevant. So from the truly overarching viewpoint, as long as the price stays above that line as the line itself moves higher, then overall that does conclude that the price therefore is still in an uptrend. So keep an eye on that from the overarching standpoint. But again, preferably speaking, what would make the chart look the healthiest and strongest? That would be if the price could stay above $1.30. In terms of areas of resistance, very straightforward here, just a basic question. Where did the party finally stop today? And the party stopped right up there at the $1.70 mark. So keep an eye on that moving forward. But anyway, look at it. Great volume, great movement. So we'll see if this momentum carries into Thursday. Next one here, VRAX. Pretty rough mover today, but now we have some interesting things going on. But just to set the stage really quickly for the context, huge gap up, nasty pullback. And when the price starts to get to that area, it becomes a very valid concern of, was this just a gap and trap? Was this just a pump and dump? But all of a sudden, the price, you can see after that point, it did actually level out and is now starting to go back upwards. Now, let me be very clear. Just because it's leveled out and started to slightly go back upwards does not mean that for sure guaranteed the pullback is over and for sure guaranteed the price is going to continue on upwards. My point is it's at least a little bit more valid of a scenario, and that is where this area right here as a potential break point, I think becomes very, very interesting. So keep an eye on that. Again, just because it breaks that level doesn't mean that it's for sure going to do anything, but I think it's a more than valid question to throw out there that a break of that level could indeed create some more upside buying pressure. So keep an eye on that dynamic, as sometimes the stocks like this that get really beat down and everybody gives up on them, those are sorts of the moments where maybe they're getting ready to curl back upwards. And with this movement and this formation, maybe this thing is going to get ready to try to break back up to the upside. Next one, ONDS, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched the past videos, but if you have, we've been talking about that 850 mark quite a bit as that key area of resistance, but as of right now, as I speak, absolutely beautiful break of that level. And not only did the price break through that level, it has just kept on going. Something that has failed to do previously. There you can see broke above it, came back down, broke above it, came back down. Slight break above it right there, came back down. But like I said, at this point in time, it's looking like this is finally the true break. So moving forward, this is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see the MACD support. So preferably speaking, as I talked about, the ideal level that would make the chart look the strongest now is going to be that $8.50 mark. But like I said previously, from an overarching standpoint, just watch that purple line, and as it begins to move higher and higher, as long as the price stays above there, then the bulls are in full control. In terms of areas of resistance, Oh, there we go. All right, let's go to the 1 hour time frame. That just means that each one of these candlesticks now represents 1 hour's worth of time. But next key battleground to keep an eye on moving forward, going to be right there at $9.17. So 9.17, next key battleground. But yes, after today, the price has pushed the highs that have not been seen for more than, definitely, about 8 weeks now. So we are at about 8-week highs. Next one, NVDA. And overall, the chart is fine. Now, if you're a day trader, then you're probably a little bummed out because during this portion right here, the price really acted like it wanted to go on a big breakout and was looking great. But then after that, the price just fizzled out and back down it went. Now, when I say back down it went, it's not like it crashed. It didn't even, violate that low right there. But I'm just trying to kind of parse things out from somebody that was maybe more of a day trader. Then, yeah, I'm assuming that was pretty disappointing movement to you. So on that note, the key area of support to watch moving forward, at least in my opinion, right down here around the 178.50 mark. That is an area where back here you can see it did a good job of holding strong. So if the price were to come down here and then bounce, that would be a nice little sign. If the price comes down here and breaks through there, again, that doesn't destroy the chart, but all of a sudden, now you can make the argument that the price is starting to go back to this area of the chart. And whenever price movements are going back to previous areas, not exactly a sign of genuine bullishness. If there is any sort of attempt to move back up, then as I talked about in yesterday's video, main still overarching battleground right there is that 200 period moving average right now valued at, we'll just call it 183.75. Real quick, want to take a break and help you solve a very common problem that maybe pertains to you, and that is people's desire to be day traders, but they don't have the right amount of money, so then they get trapped and they can only have 3 day trades every 5 days. But I want you to be aware that there is a market available out there with no pattern day trading rule, and you don't need a lot of money at all to get involved with it, and your risk is very minimal. I do get it if this all sounds a little too good to be true, which is why I'm inviting you, come swing by my live stream and see it with your very own eyes. Ask me questions. It is what I've been doing, and it is really, really the best way to go about any sort of day trading approach. So like I said, if you want to have unlimited day trades, you don't want to have a lot of your own money at risk, definitely check out the live stream. Next one here, BYND, talked about this in yesterday's video, and it ultimately did fall to the downside of this bull pennant pattern. With that said, the overall pattern, the overall chart is still in an uptrend, and that's where we circle back to, I talked about it previously on some of these other charts, that purple line. Perfect example. There was a pullback, but notice came down here and did a great job of maintaining up above it. Therefore, from the overarching standpoint, even with the breakdown of the bull pennant, the overall trend still has a chance because it's still building higher bases because it's staying above that purple line there. So that remains a key area of support moving forward. In terms of areas of resistance, this is just based on when levels of support are broken, they tend to act as resistance. In fact, I'll just go ahead and get rid of that level. So if there is any sort of a continued bounce, very curious to see how the price is going to battle and behave right around that former area of support of the pattern right there. But from the overarching standpoint, very, very good sign to see the price stay above the purple line. Had the price come down there and crash below it, that would have been quite worrisome, but did a good job of not only holding above it, but you can see right now actually producing a bounce. Next one, ticker symbol RR, and not a whole lot can be said about this one right now. It's quite literally, ever since it hit that purple line, which you now know is that 50 period moving average, it has been straight up. I mean, you see here, not a single red candle. There we go, went red a little bit. So overall, just kind of a question of maintaining and gauging the health of things. So going back to, what would make this chart look the absolute healthiest going forward, that would be if the price can stay above $4. But again, not the end of the world if it doesn't, because from the overarching standpoint, again, like it happened right there with the purple line, just watch out purple line. As the purple line moves higher and higher, as long as the price stays above it, the bulls are in full control and full health. In terms of areas of resistance, we're having to go back into the history here a little bit. Good problem to have, though, when you have to go back this far. Next key battleground to watch overall, right up there at $4.32. But anyway, look at it. Very impressive day. Very impressive afternoon. Like you said, not a single red candle. Next one, CAPR, and I like this one because I think it's a pretty straightforward level, and you got to think a lot of people have drawn a trend line very similar to that, and I make the comment about a lot of people because when there are multiple people and they're all watching the same thing and wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very, very explosive situations. So I'm not saying that if the price comes up here and pushes through there, it's going to for sure explode. But is this a valid question, as I've talked about these other ones? Is this at least a valid plausible outcome that could happen? In my opinion, absolutely, especially like I said, when that's such a clean-cut area of resistance right there. And this one today has shown that it can move, and it can move very quickly. So these ones are not for the faint of heart, but if you like these scenarios and then you like very clean-cut areas, that, like I said, even if you just call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, can create breakouts, then this one certainly is quite interesting, especially last 30 minutes. Green candle heading up into that area, so we'll see if the price can get the break on Thursday. Next one, QCLS, and what I find interesting about this is how it was started off so nasty, gapped all the way up here, just cratered, and now it hasn't recovered all the gains, but it's made a nice little move up. But right here, this is what I find interesting. One slight little pullback. So in my mind, is this the kind of quick little breath before it makes and resumes this current grind? And that's where I think this level right here is a very important and interesting level of resistance, right there at about 505. Once again, for the millionth time, there are no guarantees. But in my opinion, if the price does recover from this little bit of a pullback, break through there, that becomes a very valid question of, I think that could very well be an area that produces upside buying pressure. But as always, got to use that risk management because there's no guarantees. But like I said, very bizarre looking chart. But when you just stop and think about how nasty it got and then how impressive of a turnaround that was, and now it's given a little bit of a pullback, starting to curl back up. Let's see if that momentum can push back up through 505. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and what a monster day on this one. Talked about this in yesterday's video about how the price had finally broken through that resistance line, and now going into today, it was just a question of, will this breakout produce more? And yeah, we got our answer. That breakout was indeed the start of something way bigger. So congrats to anybody that noticed that and played that, but we now got to get things updated here, which just goes back, and I'm going to go through this quickly because if you heard me talk about it, let's map out the ideal level. And that ideal level sport, what would make it look the healthiest, strongest moving forward? Definitely if the price can stay above 439. But as you know, I'm now going to talk about the purple line. As long as the price stays above that purple line, and this one gives us a good example that I talked about on some of these other ones. But right here, classic example of what I mean. Does it have to stay perfectly above it? No, it can be a little bit messy. But point here being, as soon as it got near that purple line, it recovered back up. So as long as the price stays up above that purple line, then overall the chart is doing just fine. In terms of areas of resistance, you can see the price struggled several times right up here around 447.80. So 447.80 will be that near-term battleground. But the good news is the price is very, very close to it. So it's not like it's going to have to travel a great distance before it can do battle again. But anyway, look at it. Very, very impressive move here on Tesla. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Once more, if you are sick and tired of the pattern day trend rule, if you want to approach a market that has no pattern day trend rule, that moves very, very nicely and have you very little capital at risk, then definitely check out what I've been doing. Come swing by the live stream, watch it with your very own eyes, and ask me any sort of questions that you may have. So thanks for watching. Take care, and make sure you hit that like button. Hopefully I'll see you on the live stream.